Hey everybody, it's Master Galengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Obi Wan Kenobi Part 4. And I thought this was an okay episode, pretty decent. It is on the shorter side, being set around 38 minutes. Now, granted, that's got some credits and stuff included, so it's kind of shorter than that. And it's kind of weird because it does a lot of the same stuff that we had already seen kind of in A New Hope with that kind of rescue operation. Except done with these characters and 10 years before that. However, we do see Obi-Wan kind of grow a little bit, getting more back into his Jedi ways, trying to do this. Rescue attempt for Leia because she had been captured by Reva. We see that she is in the bowels of the Inquisitor fortress, and that Reva is pretty much interrogating her about the path, which kind of confuses me. Like, I understand Leia's smart and everything like that, but she's a 10-year-old who probably wouldn't be privy to, like, any kind of secrets, and if they were, like, if she was privy to those kind of secrets, that is a very lax kind of organization that you probably already would have taken care of at this point. It's really kind of weird. But we see that Obi-Wan is kind of like in and out. He is taken into one of the places that the path has a base on, Jabim. He's put back to tank. He gets his stuff healed up. He's freaking out. He's like, "Where's Leia?" And it's like, we kind of got an idea. We also see that, like, Vader's in his back to tank, just being like, blah, blah, blah. But that's about the extent that we see of that kind of portion. We do get some Vader going on later. But Obi-Wan gets healed enough better from his burns, which healed pretty well back to Wise, and they're trying to pretty much get an idea of what's going on. He pretty much calls out the one dude being like, "Listen, I understand what the Empire could do." And the dude's like, "Yeah, I do too, because the wife that I was in love with pretty much was a Force sensitive, and they came and they got her as well. So yeah, alright, I'll help you." And we find out that the Inquisitor Fortress is on a water moon, Nur, in the Mustafar system. Okay. Like, I don't mind that there's planets that have certain kind of stuff going on, and, like, Mustafar's, like, its own kind of stuff, and it's, like, really kind of close to Vader's kind of stuff, so that kind of works out. However, I would think that having them that close to Vader really wouldn't be in Palpatine's kind of, like, best interests. I would assume that he would want the Inquisitor kind of fortress, yes, kind of under Darth Vader's direct kind of control, but not that close to him where he could essentially, like, fuck with them at a kind of easier kind of pace for himself to essentially set him up to do his own kind of stuff, Sith Rule 2 kind of wise, to have his own kind of thing, take out his master and all that kind of stuff. Then we pretty much go into different kind of scenes where we see that Obi-Wan's pretty much trying to come up with a plan. Like, he'll sneak in, they'll use their speeders and get him out. And I'm like, okay. They say speeders, and I'm like, are they like air speeders? It was like, no, we find out that they're like the ones that were used on Hoth. And I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of works out well enough. But him and Tala decide to go in. He goes in the underwater route. Tala goes in under her Imperial credentials and is able to pretty much get through, pretty much bluffing her way in. There is a weird kind of scene where she's essentially like walking Obi-Wan through everything, and there's people around her that are able to hear her, but don't do anything, and she's pretty much guiding Obi-Wan through the fortress. He has some snafus along the way, but is able to, like, utilize the Force to, like, pretty much get some stormtroopers to kind of go away, which wouldn't seem like that big of a deal. However, he's pretty much been, I don't know if he has, like, cut himself off from the Force, kind of like what Luke did in The Last Jedi, but he has had very, pretty much severe atrophy with his Force powers, but we see him kind of working through that here and utilizing his lightsaber really kind of well as he kind of gets towards Leia. So we see her kind of doing that. This one dude kind of calls her, and she's able to, like, knock him out with people still in the room, and then goes back to pretty much trying to, like, get Obi-Wan through pretty much the base. And it's just pretty much them essentially doing that kind of thing, while Reva is attempting to get information about something that a 10-year-old has no idea about, and is just Like, I don't fault the actors involved. It's just the content of, like, what's your are you trying to get the path? Are you trying to get Obi-Wan? You're telling her that Obi-Wan's dead. I mean, the getting rid of the path would actually work in your kind of favor, but Vader went fucking nuts and was taking out most of the people around that area that could have given you information on that, so I don't know why you're doing this still. Like, I don't mind that I don't know all of Reva's objectives for what she's attempting to accomplish. However, it's almost like as she's going through this episode, she thought and planned that Obi-Wan would come and get her, so that way they could have a tracking thing and then go after Obi-Wan, I guess? And the path? I don't know. Like, as this keeps going on, I'm still kind of confused on the objective of what this is supposed to be. Now, granted, if it's just more Star Wars, I kind of get it. Okay, cool. But rather than just being more Star Wars and not doing that much with it, because I would rather them be focusing more on Obi-Wan and his sense of failure and him either coming to terms with it or it leading to some kind of other development of what he's trying to accomplish, or just pretty much this it should be fine-tuned to it's okay, Obi-Wan on a rescue mission for Leia, which this does more in this episode than most, because he actively goes to get her. I mean, he actively went to go get her the other times, but it's like, okay, he got her, so she's got to be taken again, so that way we can kind of draw this out. I kind of rather just had it like honed as much as possible to a certain degree to like cut the fat. You know what I mean? This definitely feels like it's just stretched, and I don't mind exploring other kind of places in Star Wars and other kind of planets like this one, but we don't really explore it. We just have Obi-Wan go into the water, come up in, go through all this kind of stuff, find out that there's like a Jedi tomb stasis thingy, I guess. Like, it's just showing like the rest of the Jedi like that had been affected by Order 66 and the Inquisitors taking them out and then just putting them in a thing. It's like, oh, I'm seeing this as he telling that to Tala. It's like, alright. And Reva first tries to be kind of nice to Leia, saying that, oh, you're the only one that can save yourself now. And she's like, alright, then let me talk to my father about this. I'm like, ooh, you're getting kind of, you almost got me there. And then Leia's droid kind of flies out because the plot demands that that's how she puts the tracker on her and messes with that. She's like, I used to have a droid once and everything. And then she moves to pretty much torturing her, a 10-year-old. And I understand that the Empire is a shitty thing. They killed children in Order 66, Jedi younglings. Alright? I get that. It just really shows Reva as a fucked up individual of trying to torture a 10-year-old that has no idea any kind of information that you want. It's just being a sadistic fuck, to be honest with you. It's just, I can't really get any kind of other kind of objective that she was getting other than to potentially, take the trauma that she has had from a childhood and pretty much wield it against other people. And Leia's shouting, help me, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Obi-Wan's able to hear it. Tala's able to pretty much run a distraction kind of interference. And Reva goes to then see to that. And Tala pretty much plays the, I'm like a triple agent kind of thing. I embedded myself in the past, so I got all this information pretty much doing that. But then we see a kind of cool scene where Obi-Wan's like, somehow the lights go out and he utilizes his lightsaber to kind of like take out the stormtroopers, gets Leia out, they kind of like go through, everything starts going off because Reva was about to take out Tala, and then all this shit goes down because one of the seeker droids saw Obi-Wan and Leia, and they're kind of going through. Obi-Wan does some pretty cool things of taking out stormtroopers, getting more back into his Jedi form, utilizing more his lightsaber blocking abilities to send blaster bolts back to stormtroopers. We see a purge trooper, I believe, from like Fallen Order. We get a water scene where, like, one of the things crack. Obi-Wan holds it back with the Force and showing that he's kind of getting back in tune. He's not the full strength, but what he can do is better than it was before, and they continue to get out. Reva pretty much tries to get to him, but they're able to get into one of the speeders and fly off before Reva chucks something at the other speeder. It blows up and it kills the not nameless. He's got a name, Wade, I believe. But essentially red shirt kind of protocol, and he's dead. They mourn for him, even though they really didn't give us much for us to mourn him on, and they're going out. Vader's come back and is like, Reva, you failed me, fuck you, getting ready to, like, choke her ass out. She's like, I let them go because I put a tracker that they'll never be able to kind of, like, figure out. And we see that Tala kind of, like, mourns with the other person, and Leia holds Obi-Wan's hand as we see that the little Lola droid that she's got, instead of having the usual kind of blue, is red for the tracking. And that is how they will go, and that is the end of the episode. So, it was okay. It was on the shorter end, but it stuck to its kind of objectives. It was just really kind of weird to see an Imperial agent utilize such tactics against a 10-year-old. Now, granted, I'm not saying that the Empire is good, alright? Fuck the Empire. But it's just like, there's no objective here other than to be dick-headed bad guys and just doing shitty fucking things and asshole things to somebody. It's like, alright, if you're trying to convince me, I mean, I was already there, so yeah. Alright. It was just, and it just makes for some confusing stuff for Reva's character. We need more character depth out of her, because at this point it's just like she's trying to curry as much favor with Vader and become the Grand Inquisitor, and that's about it. I know there's some other kind of depth, and it's been alluded to throughout certain kind of things going on, but there does get to a point where you're dancing so much around a mystery that certain people are just like, I don't give a shit. And then they're just like, alright, cool. So, yeah, I thought this was an okay one. We definitely had some good stuff, at least action-wise, that I enjoyed. Even though there were certain things that were confusing, like Tal's ability to talk in a room full of people about pretty much guiding someone through. And, I mean, granted, she took the one dude out stealthily, but, I mean, there's enough noise to be like, that dude came to get you. What the fuck happened there? It was just some weird shit. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.